Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Idaho Philanthropy Day celebration. My name is Renee Bade, and I'm the Executive Director of Serve Idaho, the Governor's Commission on Service and Volunteerism. We are excited to celebrate you and your accomplishments today. Serve Idaho is proud to partner with the Idaho Nonprofit Center for the second year in a row to celebrate Idaho's outstanding volunteers and philanthropists. The event was revitalized in 2017 as a partnership between the Idaho Nonprofit Center, Idaho Women's Charitable Foundation, the Idaho Association of Fundraising Professionals, and the Idaho Community Foundation. Over the past 5 years, we've been amazed by the level of service and giving across the state. And this year was no exception. We received a record number of nominations from across the state, and our reviewers had the seemingly impossible task of identifying the top candidates in each area. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent questions is, what are you doing for others?" Today, we join together to celebrate those who not only believe in this phrase, but embody it in their day-to-day lives. We look forward to celebrating your achievements and recognizing you for the amazing work you do in our community every day. Today's event would not be possible without the support of our many sponsors and partners from across the state. A huge thank you to our presenting sponsor, Thrivent, and to our silver sponsor, Idaho Central Credit Union. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our MCs for the event. KIVI News Channel 6, based in Meridian, won Outstanding Media Company at the 2020 Idaho Philanthropy Day Awards. And they are always lifting up voices of nonprofits and volunteers across the state. Please join me in welcoming the anchors of News Channel 6 and their partners as they guide us through the ceremony this afternoon. Thank you and enjoy.
That's right, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Matt Sizemore from Idaho News 6 in Boise, Idaho, and our station, of course, won the Southwest Idaho Outstanding Philanthropic Media Company in 2021, and we're excited to be presenting this year's award ceremony and to help celebrate the amazing honorees. Also, a special thank you to all the local legislative representatives joining us as well. Thank you for supporting your constituents being honored this year. To get us started, I'm going to go over the schedule for today's event. There will be 7 award categories, and for each one, a brief video showcasing each winner will be played. First up are 3 group categories. Then we'll listen to a keynote address from Kevin Bailey. He's the CEO of the Idaho Nonprofit Center. Next, we'll present our individual award categories. Then to end our show, we'll announce the region's Governor Cecil Andrus Volunteer of the Year Award. So make sure you stick around until the end. Now, last year, we loved how chatty everyone was in the comments. So let's keep that up here for 2021, and maybe your comment will be featured on screen. Now, I ask folks to introduce themselves in the comments section now and share where you're watching from. Also, of course, we encourage you to take some photos during the event and share them on social media. When you do that, just tag the Idaho Nonprofit Center with @Idaho Nonprofits. So first, we're going to get things started, or we will get things started shortly. First, though, a few words from our generous sponsor, Thrivent.
Hi, thank you for joining us for Idaho Philanthropy Day. As you know, the Idaho Nonprofit Center seeks to educate, advocate, and collaborate in support of stronger nonprofits. I'm Jessica Kofod, Market Director with Thrivent Financial, and we're proud to serve as today's key sponsor. At Thrivent, we believe that money is a tool, not a goal. We're a fraternal benefit society, which is a not-for-profit organization owned by its membership, committed to providing financial advice, investments, insurance, and generosity programs. Our goal is to provide value and financial clarity for our clients and the communities where they live. Like the Idaho Nonprofit Center, we're a community of people looking out for people, creating impact in all that we're a part of, and spreading generosity. Again, thank you for being here, and thank you for making a difference.
And a big thank you to Thrivent for your support, of course. And now for our first award. These 3 companies and foundations bring philanthropic work to the core of their mission. They demonstrate commitment to the profession, knowledge of the industry, and leadership capabilities in their communities. Here are the winners of Outstanding Philanthropic Company or Foundation.
We didn't have the resources that imagined a pandemic when we were planning for our year. What a gift it was to receive a $10,000 donation from the Avista Foundation, unsolicited, in March of 2020. It was just, such a blessing and such foresight for a foundation to look around at a time like this and see what the needs were in their community, because our growth during the pandemic was about 800% in terms of the number of people we served, because obviously people were facing so many more challenges than typical. We haven't been able to do or had the resources as an organization to do what we might normally do to thank generous donors to the organization. And so in some ways, this is a little belated, but we really felt Avista Foundation was deserving of this award because of their foresight and their insight, and their looking outward to find organizations like ours that were really responding to the pandemic.
Avista does as much as any corporation that I know to also encourage generosity and community involvement among their employees. And so what the foundation does is it serves to equip all of these remarkable Avista employees as they invest in local communities and build partnerships and help community leaders think about how they address the other opportunities and needs that are in those communities. And that's been incredible to see the way that Avista people, the human beings that make up this company, are there every single day in their communities. They're volunteering, they're reaching out, they're building relationships, and then they're using all of that relational capital to make a difference and to help philanthropic organizations or nonprofit serving organizations like Idaho Nonprofit Center and Innovia Foundation to be most effective in how we can do our work.
Inland Cellular's a regional wireless carrier, cellular carrier. We've been in Idaho for a little over 30 years now. And we started off back in the days where cellular phones were kind of just getting started. And we kind of had a vision. And part of our vision was, how we were going to act in our communities and what kind of a partner we were going to be in our communities. It's been part of our philosophy from the very beginning. We try to instill in everybody, it's not forced, but we want to strongly encourage that all employees get involved in some sort of committee, board, or community organization at some point in time. Whether that means delivering meals for Meals on Wheels or whatever it might be.
The biggest impact that they have is how important volunteerism is to their business. It's actually a part of their culture. So whenever there is a need in our community, you will always see someone from Inland Cellular there. For example, they volunteered their time to help build our new website. And in addition to that, we also every month work with the Idaho Food Bank, and we do giving out food to those who need it. And we need volunteers every month, and almost every single time that we do it, it's Inland Cellular employees that are there volunteering. And you'll see them throughout the community. You'll see their brand throughout the community because they're also supporting nonprofits monetarily as well. So they've always been sponsors of events. They've always helped out whenever there was a need.
Public Health has worked with Schweitzer Engineering Lab, or SEL, over the years, as they have been a vaccine provider for their own employees and for the clinics that they run out of their business model. So we have had that connection. We've had that understanding of their abilities and their confidence in promoting vaccines to their employees. But little did we know that they were such a great community partner as well. We have seen that shine during the COVID times, just when public health has needed them most.
One thing that Dr. Schweitzer talks about a lot is making sure that we're doing business the way our mothers would want us to. And in that regard, there's several things that we do, several programs that are really, really special. One thing we've done for many years is a disaster relief program where we're offering free expedited shipping for our products to help our utility customers get to the field, make repairs. The one that I'm remembering most recently was Hurricane Harvey. We were really quick to have voluntary overtime shifts for employees who wanted to stay on and meet the order demands for our customers who were just trying to get the lights back on. SEL immediately leapt into action when we were facing the conversation about vaccine distribution and making sure that, in particular, our at-risk folks in the Quad Cities, so Lewiston, Clarkston, Moscow, Pullman, would have access to vaccines.
Community is one of our values. And so we're encouraged to be an asset to our community. And so our volunteers come from internally. So even though, yes, it's the health clinic running the show, so to speak, our volunteers are from engineering services and HR and our facilities, amazing facilities team. So many hours just donated by people that have never done anything in healthcare before and just are so willing to jump on and be a part of this.
All right. And right now, let's go live to Pullman, Washington with honoree Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories and Frank Harrell. Welcome and congratulations to you, Frank, as well as Schweitzer.
Thank you so much, Matt. We're certainly honored and very grateful for the award and couldn't be more thankful to the Idaho Nonprofit Center for making this possible.
Perfect. Okay, so your company, of course, is very active in your community. What inspires you to keep doing this every year in this community?
You know, I think it's the community itself, and it's the fact that, as my colleagues have noted, that the community is one of our core values, and it's the community that we live and work in, the communities, the Quad Cities, where we raise our families, and we're called to be a contributing part of that community. And I couldn't be more proud to sit here and represent scores of SEL employees, from doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals at SEL, but really, as my colleague Haley expressed, across SEL that have enabled us to provide, I think today it's over 26,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine. We're preparing for a clinic next week where we'll serve up almost 1,000 doses of vaccine for 5 to 12-year-olds. And that's not just our employees and families, it's those folks too, but it's also members of the community, again, where we live and work. So I couldn't be more proud. And I also want to say just a big thank you outside of SEL, because these are big community events. This is partnering with our healthcare professionals, with our university professionals, both in Idaho and in Washington, with our fantastic public healthcare folks. It really is a combined effort, and we are so proud to be able to provide the facilities and some of the expertise, but it really takes a village, certainly during a global pandemic.
That's awesome. And one more quick question for you. And you kind of hit on it there, but what would you say you love most about your region and your community?
You know, that's an easy one, Matt. It's the resilience of the people. It's the fact that even in these uncertain, incredibly stressful times, we are almost overrun with volunteers from the community, both inside SEL and really in the community as well. So we live in a special place, surrounded by nature, surrounded by just great people, down to earth folks. And people that are willing to put down everything and volunteer when they're called to do so, and when the times need all of us, will step up. That's what I'm most proud of.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, joining us and has been Frank Harrell with Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories, of course, one of the honorees for Outstanding Philanthropic Company or Foundation. Again, congrats and thanks for being here today.
Matt, thank you.
Okay, well, the next category is sponsored by Wells Fargo, and they had this to say about Idaho Philanthropy Day. Quote, "This event is a great way for all of Idaho to come together and celebrate all the philanthropic work across our state. We understand the past couple of years have been especially challenging for nonprofits, and we want to say thank you for all the work you and your teams have put in and day out to support all of our local communities," unquote. So thank you to Wells Fargo. Now, no matter their size, these three nonprofits have grown to be innovative leaders, vocal and visible in their field, collaborators with other organizations, and an example for others. Here are the winners of Outstanding Nonprofit.
The impact that St. Vincent de Paul has on the community, a lot of people don't even realize how widespread the impact we have is. A lot of people hear St. Vincent de Paul and they think thrift store, and they don't realize that the thrift stores exist to fund our 29 social services programs, which include housing, emergency shelter care for men, women, and children, parenting classes, payee services, veterans programming. We work a lot with disabilities, people that have mental health challenges, people that are physically disabled, the elderly, senior citizens, 29,000 services a year provided either through our programs that exist in social services or our help center.
In order to keep the engine running, we rely on the support of the community, whether those are individual donors or foundations, companies, churches, or some of the government agencies that support us. What does it mean to us to be an outstanding nonprofit? It tells me that we're doing things right. Now, will we stub our toes every once in a while? You bet. But consistently we're doing things right, and we could only do that through the support of volunteers, donors, and really dedicated employees.
I was a recipient of St. Vincent de Paul nearly 5 years ago. I was homeless and I was an addict, and St. Vincent de Paul actually gave me a chance. I ended up getting sober and going to school, and now I'm an intern for the company that saved me.
TIFO is the nonprofit successor to an engineering company, and I was working for that company in 2010 when we started a project in northern Nigeria. And this was an emergency response to childhood lead poisoning. It killed 400 children. And we were partnering with local governments and tribal leaders and religious institutions, in addition to Doctors Without Borders. We were implementing an emergency cleanup. So what started as a 10-day trip turned into what's now an 11-year project.
Able to do some cleanup work in northern Nigeria, very remote area where nobody wanted to go, right? Who would think a small organization in Moscow, Idaho, will have that impact, right? And they're spending their own resources for the most part, right? The founders, Ian von Linden and Margaret von Braun, basically are using their own resources for the most part to basically support the organization.
We focus a lot on capacity building in these communities, but we also focus on building capacity in students and professionals from around the world that work on our projects. So that means that students from Idaho work with partners in Kyrgyzstan or Peru or Nigeria.
Their efforts are from the ground up. So they work with hand in hand with the communities to use local resources and tools that people have so that they don't have to ship things in from anywhere else. They also build leaders in the communities to really help sort of lead and guide these projects that they also partner with Doctors Without Borders on.
We really try to build a collaborative project at the community where we're working. So they're not really our projects. They really include big partnerships, and we try to maintain long-term relationships with those partners. TIFO is really the staff, the volunteers, the board members are really people who share our passion for ensuring environmental health quality for communities.
Family Promise of North Idaho, first of all, is well respected by other nonprofits in the community and the community at large. I've just been so impressed by the congregations that are our partners. From the beginning, they have provided amazing shelter, meals, monetary support, and they continue to do it year after year. It is staffing, it is volunteers, it is the churches providing shelter.
One of the things that Family Promise offers is a safe and hospitable space 24/7 for families with children. And in that, then we not only provide that, but we provide it in a unique way where we're inviting the community to come in and be a part of this, be a part of transforming the lives for families. So in the evenings, then our families are with volunteers that have signed up within their congregation or within their business or within their community group to provide a meal for a family. And they're sitting down at the table. So they're not just giving something, they're there with them and being a place that's safe, and they're listening to the stories that the families have to share, whether it's a story about how they stubbed their big toe and it's sore today, or how just the pressures of this world are so immense right now, to, wow, thanks for being here for me and just sharing in life with me today.
All right, now we go live to Moscow with one of the honorees, Terragraphics International Foundation, or TIFO. And we're joined by Ian, Casey, and Sandra. Welcome in and congratulations on the honor.
Thank you so much. We're really excited to be here with you all.
course. Okay, so big question for you. What does this award mean to you and your organization, and what inspires you to keep participating in your community?
Well, I'll take a hack at that first, and then I'll invite Ian and Sandra to jump in as well. For us, I think this award honors the work of the volunteers and the board members and the staff and the students that we've had the pleasure of working with over the years. And that goes for people like our co-founder, Ian von Lindern, and Sandra, who worked with us as a graduate student intern at the University of Idaho. And I think it really honors all of the work that they have put into these really unique and often challenging projects. I don't know if you want to add anything, Ian?
You did a great job. She always does. Thank you.
Sandra, what inspires you?
I was just going to say, for what inspires me, it's really just helping people and kind of like that knowledge exchange and learning from others and helping build up other communities so they can help solve these problems themselves. But.
Awesome. All right. Great stuff there. Now, a question that maybe you can go on and on with, but maybe not too on and on, but what are you most proud of regarding your service work?
I think Sandra and Ian and I and probably everybody we work with would say that one of the big things is that we support local initiatives. So we don't go in and implement a project. We really work with either local governments, local NGOs. Sometimes it's religious leaders, whatever works in that community, and support them to really adapt and implement projects that ultimately improve environmental health and address environmental injustices that go on in these really vulnerable, marginalized communities. And those are the places that are most hit by things like climate change and mining. And those are the places that also have the best idea of what the solutions need to be to those problems.
Sure. Great answer. And how about one last quick one, being up in Moscow? What do you love most about your region and your community?
I'll take this one. And I have a little different take. I grew up in Idaho, and I product of Idaho schools, and I had a successful career here working with university, with the health department in the state government. And that community is what's made it possible for us to go outside and be able to help in other countries. This is a great state. Most of our work is not to help our community, but to be able to take what our community offers and help others in the world.
All right, beautiful answer. All right, well, one of the honorees for Outstanding Nonprofits, this has been Ian Casey and Sandra with TIFO, or Terragraphics International Foundation. Again, congratulations to you all, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. We're really grateful.
All right, on to our next award. The media has the wonderful opportunity to tell our community stories. The media outlet brings philanthropic work to the forefront of their mission and showcases the generosity of Idaho. Here's the winner of Outstanding Media Company.
McVey Entertainment is just a character, and they bring that to the radio that they work with. And when you go into studio, they make you feel super comfortable because, sometimes it's really hard to get out of your element and talk into a microphone, and they make it just like you're having a conversation. They set you up for success, and anything they do with you is top notch. And that's working with every single one of their DJs. They're super fun, and that makes you feel good to go and work with them. When they are a part of any kind of fundraiser or just in an event, you are excited to be there. They also have a very huge following of people. And if they ask people in the community to contribute and help, that people dive in. Their listeners are all about making a difference in the community. They're deeply compassionate about letting people know how to be involved and how they can make a difference right here.
I have a very unique connection to them because they are my parents, which is something that growing up in the household of these two people has been one of the treasures of my life for sure. The reason why they're getting chosen for this award is because they're just obviously great people. And the reason why they didn't want to be interviewed is because they're not people that are going to toot their own horns. They're just doing this for the betterment of their community and those around them. It's not about, fame or whatever comes with that. They're just doing it because it's what's right. And that's kind of what drives them and why they continue to do things that benefit the community and are philanthropic, is because it's just the right thing to do and they enjoy doing it. They use the brewfest that they put on to give money to charities. Every single time there's a charity that benefits from the brewfest that they've been doing for, 12 years now. So I think one of the biggest impacts from them is definitely bringing people together.
All right, let's go live back up to my old stomping grounds in Lewiston, Idaho, with honoree McVey Entertainment. And Angie and Lee McVey are joining us. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on the honor.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Gina behind us screamed out, "That's Matt!"
Yeah, she recognized you.
She recognized. She was all excited you're on here today, Matt.
Oh, well, it's good to see you all. I miss Lewiston. Just such a great area, that entire area up there. Let me ask you, though, for you both, your radio stations, of course, pop up everywhere in your community. What's your favorite part about the work you both do, as well as being such a big part of your community?
Well, it starts with entertaining people. That's why we got into this. We just want to entertain people every day. And we work really hard to do that. And the kind of a byproduct of that is when we do ask them the listeners to help a good cause, they're the first ones to be here with cash in hand. We were just talking to Heidi with the food bank yesterday about this and how excited we are to work with them again in December. And it's because the people will walk off the streets with $500 in their hand and say, we just want to help. And that just means a lot to us.
They have a great audience. They're always reactive, very generous. That's kind of, we feel like that's where we come in is, we can kind of be the middleman. We've got the event to promote. We let the public know about it, get the public support of it. And it's a win for everybody.
Great. Good to hear. So what does this award mean to you both?
Well, it's been hard because we don't do things kind of like our son said. We don't do it for the recognition, and there's no expectation. And it means a lot. It's humbling. We're super thankful. It's a little bit not embarrassing, but it's just not something that we set out to do. So
we would rather.
And we have lots of help. Look at, we have 3 of our people behind us that help us with all our stuff too.
And we love people like Avista and Inland Cellular and SEL get the attention because they do so much, and we just try to help people like that along and get more of a reaction. So,
yeah, if there's anything I remember about being in Lewiston, it's just how much the community wants to help each other so much with whatever they can. So, with that being said, why do you feel, or why do you think that celebrating philanthropy and volunteering in your area is so important?
Well, what my answer was earlier was because my son told me it was. Because he used to be on the Serve Idaho board, and when I told him we were receiving this award, I said, I'm not comfortable with it. And he said, no, you deserve it. You need to get on there and accept it and give these people what they want. So it's important to I guess it makes us feel good. Like, we didn't expect it, but it's a nice little boost, and I think everybody appreciates that. So it's important to recognize it. It is. I get that.
And I hope it puts wind in our radio family sails so we can just do even more next year.
Awesome. Good to hear. All right. Well, joining us as the honoree and winner of a media marketing company has been Angie and Lee McVey, and their wonderful employees behind them. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, and hopefully see you at the next Brewfest.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now we've got another generous sponsor, and we'll introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you to Idaho Central Credit Union.
Idaho Central Credit Union is proud to be sponsoring Idaho Philanthropy Day. It's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Kevin Bailey. Kevin joined the Idaho Nonprofit Center in July of 2021 after previously serving as CEO of the United Way of Southeastern Idaho. He brings past experience in both the education and social impact sectors, both internationally and domestically, having worked both in Uganda and Chile. Kevin has directed federal grant programs related to college access for first-generation students, and also directed community programs supporting financial stability for families immigrating to the U.S. In his free time, he and his family love exploring the great beauty in the West by hiking, biking, and getting outside in nature. On Saturdays in the fall, you can find Kevin avidly cheering on his Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team.
It's now a given fact that we are living in a historical and generational moment. Over the past 18 months, we've lived through a global pandemic that we are fighting hard to put in our rearview mirror. We've recently seen a generation-long war in Afghanistan come to an end, and its many implications and lost lives and resources. And last year, we lived through one of the most tumultuous election seasons in more than a generation, including an attack on our nation's capital by our own citizens. To say the least, it's been a crazy year and a half. It's easy to look out on the horizon and see a haze of uncertainty, doubt, and perhaps a little malaise and hopelessness. Chaos has become a central element of our lives, disrupting not only our mental and emotional clarity, but also impacting our day-to-day routines and travels and our work and our sense of place and meaning. These are all facts that, for better or worse, shape what it means to live and work in our society in 2021. Our nonprofit sector has had a front row seat to all of these events over the past year and a half, as we have dealt with the impact on communities across the state and our organizations that serve these communities. Amidst all of this, many of us may feel like we are on autopilot, making a choice to simply persist, putting one foot in front of the other in our daily work. But what an important choice it is to continue taking those daily steps, however small they may seem. But if you're like me, you probably want more than just autopilot. I'm sure you have found yourself at times wondering, what is the point of all of this? How can I find meaning in any of it? When I think back on my journey in the nonprofit sector, I think of any number of big and small choices that led me to where I am today. And I've often reflected on what brought me to make those choices. Back in 2012, I was fresh off of a 2-year nonprofit stint working in Uganda, followed by a 2-year teaching gig in an under-resourced rural school in Virginia. My wife and I had just gotten married, and internally, I had bargained with myself that I had gotten those nonprofit service experiences out of my system. I was ready to settle down and find a good, solid career. And being newly married, I thought it was time to go and make a good living and commit my time to a higher paying career track. I landed at a large Fortune 50 company at their corporate headquarters as a global sourcing analyst. My job was to work with Asian factories and to manage product in the supply chains from factory to retail floor. Sounds interesting enough, right? The first product line I was tasked with managing was, believe it or not, girls' accessories, bracelets, jewelry, and all manner of jingly, sparkly items made from materials I had never heard of. To say the least, I was not particularly thrilled or passionate about the product. One day, about 6 months into the job, I headed to a conference room on the 32nd floor of the downtown offices. My team was to meet with a few New York fashion designers who had flown in that morning to update us on next season's trends and pitch us on some sample product. The designers were cast straight out of the movie The Devil Wears Prada. Exactly what you would expect. Serious, hip, New York fashion types. As the meeting started, they mentioned that the product would need to have sequins the following season to keep up with emerging trends. I raised my hand just enough to be seen and asked, "What are sequins?" "Are you serious?" they responded. Everyone in the room burst out laughing. I think they may have thought I was half joking myself. Here I was, sourcing product for a major US corporation, and I didn't even know something so basic as a sequin. I went home that day and reflected on where I was heading. As hard as I looked, I couldn't find the meaning in it for me anywhere. The next few months were fairly dark and disconnected for me as I struggled to find the meaning in a career path that had at least 10,000 days just like that one in front of it. It seemed like a dark tunnel to nowhere. Of course, plenty of others before me had found their path in jobs just like this, but I felt I was called to something different. So I began patiently looking for the exit and more meaningful work. An opportunity arose for my wife and I to drop everything and leave for South America to pick back up with teaching, this time in Chile. We got out of our apartment lease early and quickly packed up as much of our worldly belongings into a few large suitcases. It's all we could bring with us on the plane. It was liberating to know we could leave much of our worldly baggage behind. This marked a major turning point for me, and one that would forever brand me as a member of the nonprofit family. As I reflect back on that experience from 10 years ago, I realized that what I was most in search of was something that was bigger than myself, something I could throw my energy into that wasn't all about me. The nonprofit sector has given me that and more. I know that you too have a similar inflection moment, a moment when you made a choice to give your time, your talent, or your treasure to something greater than yourself. I think as we cope and persist through these polarized, chaotic times, our sector has in its very DNA the antidote for what ails our society at large. I think our sector has figured out where to find the meaning. We have all committed ourselves in our own way to a project that is bigger than ourselves. As nonprofit employees, philanthropists, corporate funders, and volunteers, you all are squarely part of the collective project that we've undertaken to inject real meaning into our communal lives. Nonprofits, philanthropists, volunteers, and corporate partners committed to the social good are what make our communities truly great. The importance of our sector cannot be understated. 65,000 employees across Idaho, 490,000 volunteers in Idaho, producing over 48 million volunteer hours, and north of $1 billion of investment in the sector in Idaho. And what has this brought us? Pretty much everything that is meaningful in our respective communities. In every corner of our state, you can't walk more than a block without touching the impact of a nonprofit. How about the organization that supports and coordinates the historic downtown revitalization and local merchants in your city? That's a nonprofit. Fantastic museums like the Museum of Idaho that our kids visit to enrich their learning on school field trips? That's a nonprofit. Or the ski hills like Bogus Basin that support a winter's worth of recreation and access for people of all abilities and income. That's a nonprofit. Or the shelter that keeps stray animals off your streets in your community and finds new homes for them. That's a nonprofit. The organization that provides transitional housing for a veteran suffering from PTSD, also a nonprofit. How about an organization like River Discovery providing healing experiences on one of Idaho's world-class rivers for survivors of cancer? That's a nonprofit. And the organization providing good pay and work for an emerging local artist to create murals on blighted urban buildings in your city? Also a nonprofit. Nonprofits and those who support them are all around us. The impact you all have had is evident everywhere you look. But it's the people who make up great nonprofit organizations, people like you. What are the ways that you personally have given time, talent, and treasure to nonprofits that make life great in your community? Maybe you've been on the front lines, exhausted at the end of a long day doing case management, healthcare, or housing. Or maybe you are a donor or corporate funder who realized you were part of the solution between what is and what could be in your community and expanded a new program the community desperately needed. Or maybe you are a volunteer who gave your blood, sweat, and tears to a mission that you love. My challenge to you, whether you are a nonprofit leader, philanthropist, corporate funder, or volunteer, is to spread the word of how nonprofits make our local communities great. Share what gives you meaning. Let people know why you have chosen to make an impact with nonprofits. Encourage others to join you in finding meaning in nonprofits. In doing so, you'll inject a little bit more sanity and a lot more meaning into the lives of Idahoans in every community amidst the tumult that we're experiencing today. Nonprofits are truly the antidote to what ails us. Thank you for being a part of the solution.
All right, and oops, and I'm moving things. Thank you. Oh boy. Hi, everybody. All right. Hi. I'm just going to get taller now. Thanks, Kevin Bailey, for sharing. And we are grateful for the nonprofit and charitable sector as well. Now, these next three individuals have demonstrated exceptional leadership and philanthropic efforts and projects benefiting charitable organizations. Here are the winners of Outstanding Adult Philanthropist.
Vicki is an incredible volunteer for Girl Scouts and for her community in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She is someone who has been involved in this movement for over a decade. She was a board chair but she continues to give back at every turn. And I think what makes Vicki so special is that her passion for others, her passion for youth in particular, drives her to the end of the earth. Idaho and Eastern Washington are not the biggest states, but I will just tell you that her heart for youth is bigger than both of our states combined. And I am incredibly appreciative of all that she has done to support Girl Scouts, to support youth in the Coeur d'Alene area, as well as Eastern Washington area, and to always be there for our Girl Scouts when she's been called over the last 10 years. There's a quote out there that says, let the sweet song begin. And I think Vicki is that sweet song. She definitely has done it. And it's not just the fact that she's out supporting Coeur d'Alene. It's that she's looking for any area that she can be to help them out.
I'm, I think, a lifelong supporter of my community and different service organizations. That's probably my main thing. And I'm retired and happy. I like to make a difference in the community. And I think you can do that through direct action when you're volunteering your time, talent, and treasure. And, it's just very rewarding, raising awareness around the community to different causes and different groups and different organizations.
Great and philanthropist go together so perfectly in describing Brad and Janice. For Brad, I would say that Brad is so passionate about seeing people flourish, and he just involves himself in so many local nonprofits. So Brad's generosity is always tied directly to how much he cares about individuals and the time that he makes year in and year out to invest in the nonprofit organizations that they love as a couple. And when I think about Janice, what makes Janice such a great philanthropist is that not only is she wicked smart and so generous, but ever since the Baldwins moved to North Idaho and settled in Coeur d'Alene, Janice has used her influence and her success as arguably one of the most successful business women in the community. And she has always directed that success towards her generosity and her philanthropy. She's so visionary about what she wants to accomplish and how she wants to see Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County thrive. So Janice has been the kind of person who looked around and said, we need a way for women to partner together and pool our funds and make a deeper impact with our collective philanthropy. And so Janice is a great philanthropist because she didn't just have the vision, she had the tenacity and the organization and the leadership to bring it all together. And so she'll forever be known as the founder of the Women's Gift Alliance in Kootenai County, which is one of the most inspirational organizations to me. And it was because of their vision and passion that they started Young Life, and they've seen it through. And that has made a tangible impact, because if you looked across North Idaho today, there have literally been thousands of teenagers who have been positively impacted because of the work of Young Life in local high schools and middle schools in Kootenai County. And that's because of Janice and Brad.
I've known Pat as a friend for 35 years. We've done some collaboration. We work for different companies, but we collaborated with what we do. And so I've known her very, very well. And what makes her a great philanthropist is not only her ability to donate, but to donate herself and to others, and to spend time pouring her life into them. As I've seen her do so often, she spends a lot of time in coaching, training, and mentoring people, not only in business, but in life skills as well.
One of the special things about the way that she does contribute is that she tries to make life better for people and help them achieve their full potential and what it is that they want to see their life become. She tries to help break down barriers for people and help connect them through organizations and assist those organizations in assisting others. She offered to teach cooking to people who really have no idea how to cook. So they tend to live on fast food and junk food, and it's expensive. So she developed a program where young people could benefit from her experience as a chef. So So I guess I would just describe Pat as someone who shares her passions in a way that benefits others.
Pat Krug makes a difference in our community every day. She still works, number one. When you're a working person, you're making a difference by showing up and setting an example to so many others. Pat works with her team, alongside her team. Her team loves her, and that just says a lot about her. She's just a sincere, genuine person. She'll do things and not need, or maybe not even want recognition. I think she would prefer to do it and no one knows.
I just think that it's important that we all do whatever we can to make our world, our communities, a safer, more loving place.
And of course, not only are we celebrating treasure shared, but also time and talent. Now, these next few individuals have demonstrated exceptional leadership through a significant amount of service and volunteerism in their community. Here are the winners of Outstanding Adult Volunteer.
I would say the
Brightest
most
Star.
fulfilling thing that I've been a part of has been hearing the heart of those in need and being a part of putting a plan of how to assist them together.
Amanda is every nonprofit's dream volunteer. She is incredibly committed, and during COVID, she became our volunteer care coordinator.
The main organization that I've been volunteering with the last 2 years is called CD Aid. And I was really drawn to CD Aid when a friend shared about what they do, because they work with hospitality workers, primarily in the Coeur d'Alene, greater Coeur d'Alene area.
I think Amanda is an amazing combination of compassion and commitment and competence. And those three attributes are so admirable and so somewhat unknown in our world today, to have somebody so committed. She's been an inspiration to the volunteers she's worked with, to the board members, and to our ED, as she is, I'm sure, to her entire community.
The one thing that's helped me the most has been when I'm sitting down with someone, whenever I'm meeting with anyone in any capacity, is just being fully present with them, whether I'm getting together with them for 5 minutes or an hour. I truly hope that the people that I speak to and the people that I work with go away with increased positivity in their life, encouragement, and true hope. So if I can touch them in some kind of way in their life and they go away with those things, I would feel encouraged in the legacy that I'm leaving.
Hi, I'm Kim Rancier. I'm the Executive Director of Hospice of North Idaho, and I've had the privilege of knowing Georgianne for about 10 years. She's been a volunteer for us and a board member for Hospice of North Idaho for the last 9 years.
And I'm Julianne Holt. I'm the president of the Kootenai Health Foundation. And I've known Georgianne since I moved here 5 years ago. And she's been a very active leader, volunteer leader on our foundation board.
I think that Georgianne is a great volunteer because she is fully engaged in whatever that activity is and really does not shy away from, difficult types of things. And she just gives her whole heart to what she's doing.
She's very good as a board member. She always prepares for our meetings. She reviews the materials.
She's willing to do anything that's needed for the organization. Deliver cookies to people. She will sit with somebody that is all alone. And in hospice, a lot of times people are alone. And so she's volunteered to help in that respect. So I don't know that she's ever not done anything any of us have asked for her to do. And to me, that is a fabulous volunteer.
Yeah, I would echo that. In fact, just yesterday, she found out we were very short-staffed here in the office for a variety of reasons. And she volunteered and came in and helped us with answering the phones and answering the door. And while she was here, she helped put together the agenda for one of our committees that she chairs. So, yeah, she does. She's amazing.
Jennifer Butler is a volunteer for our organization, and what that means is simply that she volunteers. She does it for because of her heart for girls. She does it for the heart for her community. And I nominated Jennifer for Post Falls Volunteer of the Year as well, because she's done so much for her community. I'm here sitting here with my green tie representing Girl Scouts, but I will just tell you that Jennifer does so much, whether it be running a program, a backpack for kids, where she goes out and raises funds to get backpacks to go to lower income schools to help them out, whether she's supporting sports teams. I usually always see Jennifer with a whistle around her neck, because whether it be cross country or supporting her son who plays baseball, she's out supporting a lot of youth sports teams. Jennifer's just that all-around volunteer with a capital V. So she certainly is that for Girl Scouts as well. I will just say that our organization of Girl Scouts wouldn't be the organization we have today without Jennifer Butler. Post Falls Service Unit, that's the geographical area there that supports Girl Scouts there. Jennifer's been core to that service unit for the longest of times as her daughter went through Girl Scouts. And quite honestly, it's one of our strongest service units. And without Jennifer Butler, it wouldn't have been that way. She puts family first. She puts Girl Scouts first. She puts her community first. I know it all sounds like, how can you put all three together first? But Jennifer Butler somehow has found the way. That's why I nominated her for this award. Everyone is a priority in her life. I don't think the lady sleeps, but I definitely know she knows how to love others and she knows how to uplift her community. That's why I nominated her for this award.
And community involvement and volunteerism, of course, start at a young age in Idaho. These individuals have demonstrated exceptional leadership in philanthropic efforts, including volunteerism and/or projects benefiting charitable organizations. Here are the winners of Outstanding Youth Philanthropist.
The whole heart behind my Gold Award was to really help people and children that had cancer. So my mom worked in a physical therapy clinic that had patients that had cancer. So I kind of just grew up seeing that. And it was something that I really wanted to be able to make a difference in. So that's kind of what my whole project was based on. So I was in contact with a camp in my hometown that really works with children for a week and gave them that week away from everything that they were going through to really help them feel like a child, even if it was just for a week, and really have that time that they got to spend with friends and not worry about the cancer that they had.
Michaela has made a difference in the northern Idaho community of Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene, where she lives, by showing persistence and perseverance. She got her gold award during the COVID years. And most girls who get the highest award in Girl Scouting, we have about a dozen or so a year who get that. In the COVID years, we only ended up having 3 get it. Michaela was one of those 3. And the reason why is she never quit. Even when her gold award was on the rocks of helping kids at camp, because camp wasn't going, she found other ways to make sure that next year's camp, she'd be able to help those kids. You know what? Michaela sold over 24,000 boxes of cookie during that COVID years. That's a national record. No one had ever done that up until that time. And she did it every day, standing outside of Walmart, holding the sign or low, saying, help buy some cookies from me. But at the bottom, donate to help our soldiers, help children with cancer. That's who Michaela was. And she did it 24,000 times to help others. She's an extraordinary Girl Scout.
I think we could change the world just by loving and encouraging someone too. So that could be a huge success program too. Even if you just live your life with love and gratitude, then it's hard to spread hatred when you're so focused on that.
All right, now for the big moment, the announcement and surprise reveal of the Governor Cecil Andrus Volunteer of the Year Award. It's an honor to introduce Danielle Trujillo from the Andrus Center for Public Policy, who will be announcing the award winner.
Good afternoon. My name is Danielle Trujillo, and I am the Executive Director at the Andrus Center for Public Policy at Boise State University. As a longtime advocate for service and volunteerism, Governor Andrus established Serve Idaho, the Governor's Commission on Service and Volunteerism, in 1995. In honor of his legacy to service and volunteerism, it is my honor to announce the Governor Cecil D. Andrus Volunteer of the Year for North Idaho. The Volunteer of the Year award is given to one of the nominees that exemplifies what it means to serve others, and like Governor Andrus, believes that service isn't just something that is a part of their life, it is their identity. The winner of this year's award often spends more than 20 hours a week volunteering in her community. She has served in a variety of leadership roles for both the Kootenai Health Foundation and Hospice of North Idaho, including serving as the treasurer, secretary, and chair for several committees. She has a strong passion for policy and procedure and has been instrumental in developing policies and procedures for all organizations where she volunteers. This year's winner is passionate about the missions of the organizations where she serves, volunteering in every role from assisting with fundraising events to sitting with patients and providing comfort during their end of life. According to her nominator, Georgianne truly has a heart for service. She not only serves the organizations herself, but encourages others to serve whatever organization means the most to them. She truly deserves this recognition, and she is an outstanding example for all of us to give to causes dear to our hearts. She does all of this with the spirit of humility. We are honored to know her and to work with her. It is my pleasure to recognize Georgianne Jessen as the North Idaho Governor Cecil D. Andrus Volunteer of the Year.
All right, and Georgianne is celebrating with her friends and family in Kootenai County. Thank you to Serve Idaho and the Andrus Center for your continued support in recognizing volunteers. All right, well, congratulations once again to all the winners today. You are the reason why Idaho is such a beautiful state, such a joy to live in. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing what comes next from the generous people in every corner of Idaho. Goodbye and good night.